Good evening, everyone. We will call the meeting to order and note the members present at 6:30 p.m. Welcome everybody in the gallery, the staff, and all the councillors. We'll start off with the land acknowledgement. We'll begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathering on the land that has been inhabited by Indigenous people since time immemorial. We would like to recognize that we are in the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory, and the land on which we are gathered today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. Specifically, we acknowledge the neighboring community of Mishkwant First Nation, to whom we have great respect. We also recognize the contributions of all Indigenous people, including the Métis, in shaping and strengthening the community in the province of Ontario. Miigwech, and thank you very much. Item number 2, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the agenda. Thank you very much, Councillor Chiasson. All in favor? Moved. Item number 4, delegations and presentations. We have none. Item 5, adoption of minutes. 5.1, corporate planning meeting for Tuesday, October 18th. May I have a mover? Councillor Cannon. All in favor? Approved. Item 6, business arising out of previous meeting. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 7. 7.1, report for the month of September and October 2022 from the Infrastructure Department.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll just do a quick summary of the things that have happened over the past couple months. So for the roads department, we've got our 2,000 tons of screened sand and salt all mixed together and ready to go for the winter season. The weather cooperated for us a little bit this summer, so we got some sections of Toronto Avenue sidewalk completed. With a few sections to go, we're hoping with the good weather that's forecasted, we'll get those in before we start to see some cooler temperatures. Gravel roads are being sloped and graveled for the fall and winter season. We put out the markers for the winter plowing equipment and making sure that obstructions and things are safe and off the roadways. The street sweeper has been out and picking up the leaves that have fallen and cluttered on the roadsides. Garbage cans and benches and the remaining flower boxes were removed from Broadway and Mission Road, and they've been put away for storage for the winter season. And we are beginning now to prep the equipment for the winter, put snow tires on, things like that. In the Water Services Department, we've done flushing of our sanitary and storm sewers, and that'll be ongoing this week and next. We've replaced some broken manhole lids and some housings, and so we've dug those up and had those replaced. Hydrants were serviced for the winter. Work at the water plant is being performed on some of our assets. We have some plastic tanks that we're getting welded together for some weak spots. Operations staff had a training session with our membrane filter supplier. It was super informational, and I'm really excited to show new council just a little more in depth of what we're going to be looking at our water treatment plant. We've got some cool upgrades coming. And then we are still looking for a third water operator. We've reached out to headhunters. We've gone to different operations organizations. So we're still working on that with Crescent Engineering going to be our ORO for the next 6 months, which is allowed under our legislative requirements. Capital projects, we've got this school zone. It's essentially done. We've just got a couple deficiency items that Provo's going to finish up. The cemetery expansion, we have our final design brought forward. We're working on an RFP to begin the engineering services for phase 1 construction with timelines and cost proposals. Our landfill expansion is underway. We've cleared out that sort of opening portion where the site attendant shack was, and we're working on that sort of circular turnaround bay area where you're going to be able to pull up to the roll-off bins and to the recyclables section. We're working on our rate setting financial plan for the water and wastewater system. We've had several progress meetings now with Watson's, and they've provided us with lots of data and different options to think about moving forward to propose to council. And we are also working on our master plan. Asperdat and Associates put together a critical needs technical memorandum for us, outlining some of our assets at a higher level and looking at, asset management planning that way. And now we're looking at how we can service the community should it decide to grow in different areas. And infrastructure forecast for November and December. We're going to do a quick review of our sanding and plowing routes. We've got some new staff and just a refresher for some of our older staff. We're working again winter gear on equipment and trucks, looking at our operating capital budgets, not just for next year, but for the next couple years, and then continuing to retrofit and rehabilitate our water and wastewater assets. And then an exciting professional development for me, I got my PN designation yesterday, so that's in October. So I'm excited to hear that. Looking forward to a couple other things that I'd like to get under my belt and continue to work with the community to bring my experiences and experiences here and hopefully come up with some new and creative ways to service Wawa. So yeah, that's it for us for September and October. Any questions? Yeah.
Did you know anything about the damage at the cemetery? Is it just the wind?
So yeah, the wind's been a big issue. We've also noticed that there's some big track marks in between some of the rows of tombstones. And we've called around, and it seems to be that some of our tombstone suppliers are the ones that are doing some of this damage. So we've talked to them about using the designated roadways to make sure they're putting the stones in at the right place.
Yeah, just check and see that the stones are put back up, because
Yeah.
there's quite a few down.
Absolutely.
What kind of deficiencies do they have to do in the spring?
In the
Provo.
spring. Oh, so no. So they're just small things like small panels of sidewalks that aren't up to what we would expect to be for finishing. Just landscaping, mostly cosmetic things at the end. Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, the new street signs that are all over the place. I'm not sure what they're for. They're orange. They're by the. Let me see exactly. I've seen about 5 of them. I just didn't know exactly. I don't know if they were for the pumps, the street, for fire pumps, or do you know what anything?
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. The orange signs.
Yeah, there's well, I seen 5.
Okay.
And I just didn't quite know what they were for.
Okay.
Just-
Yeah, we can talk maybe after about where those signs are, and we can.
Just to remind your man that the kids had a huge fire last night at the old dump, and there's a ton of nails and glass.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
One question and a comment. I'm very impressed the way you got all the wheelchair put in, accessible for the parking. Very nice, beautiful. Now, 1 week request. With Mayor's permission and Maury, can we have one in the back here? 1 or 2 for,
Yeah, I'm sure that's
Okay.
something that we can work out and identify some spots. Absolutely. I don't
Sure.
see that.
oh, yeah, that'll be my last task, eh? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Chason. Councillor Cannon?
Hi, Rebecca. Did you ever find out from the engineer about Churchill?
Yes, I was meaning to talk to you about that. So I talked to him about road widths and that it does appear that the one coming around the bend, it feels tight. He has assured me that he did measure the lane widths, and the lane width add to that bend is the appropriate width.
Okay. We'll see, I guess. Eh? Thanks.
So I'll round up our questions and comments first by congratulate you on getting your PN, because that's very, very monumental. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I just had one question about the review and sanding and plowing roads. Does that come with a communication strategy?
We absolutely can, communicate that better with council and staff for sure as to how we approach that and what we'll be needing for next steps, especially now the school zone has been updated. So there's some changes that do need to be made that we're reviewing with our operators to make sure that snow removal for them is as smooth as possible.
Perfect. I'd like us to be as forward-thinking as possible so we can avoid any communications mishaps with our residents as possible.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And the other question I had was, I understand that the engineering firm is acting as our ORO, so for the next 6 months. But is there any legislative requirements or liability that rests on council in the event that we are not able to find a ORO?
Yeah, so we've been working with Steve Rulo, who is our MECP sort of advisor for our area. And from my understanding, he understands sort of the operational staff shortage. And so every 6 months, if it comes up that we can't seem to find somebody and replace them, it appears that we can keep renewing Crescent as our ORO if that's something that we would choose to continue to do, which they've been really great. They provide us with 24/7 support. They respond immediately whenever we've got questions or emergencies. So we can continue to move forward with them. It's just a matter of renewing it every 6 months and just letting the MECP know. But we are actively searching, and we've even posted on more job boards this month and plans for next, just to make sure we keep our bases covered and just trying to diversify where we're posting.
Okay. At what point is like subcontracting or sourcing out a firm like Aqua, does that become like a conversation?
So we've reached out to Northern Water Works. The way that we had kind of proposed it to them was that we wanted them to provide an ORO and an operator for an interim period until we could find somebody who's going to work for the municipality full time, do it kind of on a contract basis. However, they came back to me and said for them to have a business case to want to come and train somebody and recruit operational staff, that they would need to see a contract with a longer timeline. So that's something that we would have to discuss in terms of operations and what we can afford, and sort of what we can do moving forward with them.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Seeing no other questions from council, we'll move on to item 7.2, report of the month from Alex Patterson.
Thank you. So a couple things for the last couple months. It's really been focused on the community center. Trying to get everything closed up into the parks while we open the community center. So capital projects upgrading the community center, we've had some significant delays in two. The first one is the south hallway flooring. The second one is the glycol pump. We finally did receive the flooring last week, so we've got an install date of next week, which is going to be way more complicated than doing it in the summer because we're going to have to do it dressing room by dressing room. But at the end of the day, we'll have that project done before the end of the fiscal year. The next portion is the curling glycol pump. That was something that was supposed to arrive in June. It's still not anywhere. It's not in the country. They're waiting on the supplier. So we're not sure if that's going to be done this year. The expected date is mid-November, but it gets pushed back basically every time we've had it. So that's on the radar for something that may be carried over into next year, depending on when we can actually receive that piece of infrastructure. Other than that, for the rink parts itself, we had a really good arena ice installation. I made some notes about a couple days of delays there and what that really looked like to us. Having those extra days in the schedule as buffer time was really important. However, we didn't have any operational issues. We didn't have any mechanical issues. So it's something that went really well for us. Any ideas? Sorry for the intermittence. Next one we're doing is curling ice installation. So we actually just finished painting and sealing today. So that's on track to be done for the curling ice to be ready next week. So happy to have the whole building back in operation. And that, again, have no issues so far with any of the mechanical, any of the operational pieces of that puzzle. Under Parks and Trails, I talked a little bit about shutdowns, but nothing's been particularly different this year. I also mentioned some issues with vandalism that we've been having and noted all of the instances over the last month or so. That's something that we're working with the OPP on. However, it's been significantly more than in previous years, and it takes a lot of our time to come through. Under recreation, we did something a little bit new and ran a soccer program in the fall instead of in the spring. We had about 50 youth sign up, which is a little bit less than we'd normally expect. I think the only other comment was that it got pretty cold towards the end of it. So we're not sure if we're going to do that in the fall again, or we might run a small one in the spring and a small one in the fall, just to balance it out a little bit better. We've got some other events that we spoke about here as well in the recreation portion. The only other thing I think I'll mention is that the bar is being opened on Friday nights now for some adult programming at the community center. And we've actually seen some pretty good success with that. Folks are coming out, watching games, and we're generating some revenue there as well. Under tourism, I heard some discussion before about the 5-year plan. So interviews are going on, community consultation is happening. We're getting a good result from some of the surveys as well as some uptake, but we're looking for a little bit more on a couple community sessions coming up. So we're going to try and be promoting that a little bit better in the next couple days to really get that final push to get more people signed up for community engagement sessions. So if you know anybody who's interested, who has something to say for tourism, it's open to anybody, the community engagement sessions. You just have to register with Jesse in the office here. Other than that, I've got some good news on the funding front. We're in stage 2 of our NOHFC applications for the community center, and that's for both applications. So we broke one larger application into phase 1 and phase 2. And what that did for us is it allowed us to use the same larger project, but we used 2 funding streams. So that's for a total of $1.5 million over 2 funding streams. Both of those phases are in phase 2 right now. So good news, but we also have 60 days now to get both phase 2 applications in all at the same time. So that'll be a lot of work for us to get really off the ground. Other than that, I've got some other notes on funding. We're still awaiting our sports field application from Trillium, and we're starting to put together a new Trillium application because there's another round of Trillium funding coming up, and that'll be for the Tourist Information Center accessibility. So I've got some notes in there about what that may look like. Any questions?
Councillor Field?
Thank you. Alex, what is that glycol pump for? What does it do?
So the curling glycol pump basically moves, glycol is what's underneath the pad to make it cold. And so it moves the glycol underneath the pad. So on the hockey side, there are 2 pumps and they spin to put glycol on the hockey side. The curling is just 1 pump and it spins to put glycol on the curling side.
So it doesn't work, the glycol pump?
No, it's at the end of its lifespan. So it works right now, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
about to fail. So before it fails, we're replacing it as a preventative measure.
Okay. What's going on at the rink Friday night that the bar's open?
Yeah, so we had bookings this year where all of the bookings Friday night were adult bookings. So you've got women's hockey, a couple rounds of mercantile hockey. So we decided what we do is when curling starts, we're going to start an adult pickup curling. And then we're going to open the bar on Friday night for people to come watch the games, curl, things like that. So just because of how the bookings worked out this year, we came up with an idea to just focus Friday as like an adult night at the community center. And like I said, we've had some pretty good success so far, and I think we'll have even more people out once curling starts.
Oh, good idea. And is the curling clubs, I think Miss O'Neill might be able to answer this one more. They going to get their check for the bar from last year?
Yes.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just have one question, Alex. Last year, we made arrangement that we'll close the tour center later dates. And I see the chain was up again, and people are trying to get in this year. And correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we went with a later date or weather, depending on the weather. So correct me if I'm wrong on that, please.
I don't want to say you're wrong without looking at the minutes. So the reason that it's closed right now is because we had dumping happening there. So a couple weekends in a row, we found a bunch of shingles there, as well as a bunch of household waste. And it's just not something we can keep up on when we're trying to make curling ice and be at the community center. So we closed the parking lot because of that.
Ouch. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Cannon?
You said about the vandalism. How did the trees make out?
Not that great. A couple of them were pulled out. We only lost 2 that way, so not so bad. But a bunch of stakes were pulled out. We put them back in. We drove by today. They're out again today. So don't really know what to do about that because you have to use stakes. Like it's not like we're gonna build a chain link fence around every little tree. So we've looked at the lighting there. We went at night to just see what the lighting looked like, and the lighting's actually not so bad there after we did an upgrade a couple years ago. I don't personally think we want to go to the point of putting security cameras in every park because I think that's just way too much. So we're working with the OPP, who are obviously right now extremely short-staffed, especially on night shifts.
Thank you.
Okay, and those sessions for the tourism, the 5-year plan, those are going to happen soon?
Mm-hmm. I don't have the dates memorized. Yeah. Okay, next Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, so they're coming up quick. So we've still got, I want to say, 5 to 8 slots left in each one, if I remember right. So certainly encourage anybody who's interested, who wants to have their say, to come out.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
No in-camera sessions this evening and no business arising from the closed session. So the next meeting date will be Tuesday, December 13th. And we will now adjourn this meeting at 6:51 p.m. May I have a mover? Councillor Hatfield? All in favor? Approved. And if you can just give us a few seconds to move to the next meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order and note the members present at 6:52 p.m. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we will move to item number 3, approval of the agenda.
For Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, be approved as presented.
All in favor? Approved. Item number 4, delegations or presentations. We have one presentation. So I'd like to first start off with thanking all the candidates who put their name forward for to put their name forward to council, and say congratulations to all members or all candidates who were elected. And I'd like to invite Maury to make a presentation to Councillor Chiasson as a token of appreciation for 12 years of service.
Chain and shackle.
Oh, that's nice.
And a new one.
Probably not, but go ahead.
Bill, it's my honor and pleasure to say a few words about you, to recognize the 12 years of dedicated service to municipal council and the community as councillor for the municipality of Wawa. I'm emotional, and I know you are, to recognize that after 12 years tonight will be your last meeting of council as you venture into another phase of your life. Representing council and staff and reflecting on the 12 years, I want to share that your dedication to the community, which always came through in many ways, especially from my perspective, how you always listen to people in the public. You were always out there listening and bringing their concerns or questions forward to staff and asking staff to investigate anything that any member of the community brought forward to you, and for that, you should be commended. Secondly, you rarely missed a council meeting, even if you struggled with moving into the new Zoom era and new technology that was required. You rose and you met the challenge and made sure that you attended over the 12 years the majority of your council meetings, only missing those ones for real, personal reasons. What also comes to mind is your dedication to the committees you served on over 12 years, which I won't list them all, but I think recently about the cemetery committee and all you did to assist the new members on that committee and assist them to come together to have a beautiful working committee. You made fabulous improvements like the ice candles in the winter and the flower beds. You've done a great job on all the committees, whether it was a cemetery committee, you served on the library board, you served on various committees and boards, and your contribution will not be forgotten, is recognized tonight by all. I think, and finally, I will personally always remember that you came in with a beautiful big smile. You always took time out of your busy schedule and hand-delivered Christmas cards to all the staff of the municipality, and even included the Economic Development Corporation when I was over there. So staff will remember that, and when I asked staff about a story, they just wanted to have me say to you, thank you, because you always came out of your way to come to some employee's desk to recognize a certain contribution or to say thank you. So they will miss you and miss how appreciative you always were of staff. We may not have always seen eye to eye, but we always came together in the end and came to an agreement on matters of importance, and you were always a team member for council. So on behalf of Mayor and council and all the staff here, as well as the members of our community, congratulations for 12 years, a big accomplishment. We will miss you, and we saved number 3 of 500 for you. So you're among, next to Mayor Brody, the second recipient of this spring. Thank you, Doug.
Just wanted to say to Mayor, Council, and all the staff here, and all the people that supported me for the last 12 years. It was an honor and a privilege to work for the people of town. And we've been through some tough times with floods, fires, and getting people from other communities that was in danger here, and legal stuff. There was never a dull moment in this place. So if I offended anybody in words, it's not personal. It's all to do with the job. So I was honored and privileged to work with you all, and different people in the past, different counselors, but I stuck in there and nothing bothers me. You could call me what you want. It don't bother me, but I work for the people. It's them that I work for, not for me or my friends. Then if you, the new counselor and our now, if you need any help, trust me, the staff downstairs has the answers. Just go up to them. If they don't, they'll find it. Because they helped me a lot in the last 12 years. And every one of them. And to all the people, even the fire department, it was a privilege to go there every Christmas, give them the cards. And I think the other department, what I used to bring some banana cakes. I missed last year because there was no one there, so so my apologies to them this year. So anyway, it's a pleasure. It's not It's due to health reasons why I can't run no more. And if I get my health back, and hey, you never know, I could live to be 100, you know. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you to all the public that supported me and those that didn't. I still love you guys all, and I'll continue working on, hopefully, in other committees to keep this town going and to do the best I can for the best of this town. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Chason. May I assume you don't need a delegation or an announcement? Okay. So item number 5, announcements of giving notice. There's a number of meeting dates for everybody's reference. Adoption of minutes, item 6.1.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon. Resolved that the following minutes of the meeting of council be adopted as presented. Minutes of a regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, October 18th, 2022, as contained on pages 1 to 7, inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Carried. Item 7.1, correspondence. Everybody can take a look. We'll move on to the consent agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the items listed under the consent agenda, items 8.2 to 8.4, be approved as recommended.
All in favor? Carried. Item 8.3. That's the approve requisition for the goose print.
I'm sorry, I read the consent agenda, but I have another resolution here about accepting the following committee board minutes. It would be a resolution under 8.2.
Oh, okay.
Moved by Councillor Chason, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby receive the following committee board minutes. A, Heritage Committee, May 31st, 2022. B, Algoma Public Health, June 22nd, 2022. Economic Development Tourism Advisory Committee, June 23rd, 2022. Cemetery Committee, June 28th, 2022. Economic Development and Tourism Advisory Committee, August 15th, 2022. Library Board, September 19th, 2022. And the Cemetery Committee, September 21st, 2022.
All in favor? Carried. Now 8.3, approve requisition for goose print.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality Wawa does hereby approve the following requisitions for Wawa goose prints in accordance with policy number PR-001 presented to Pat Tate, requisition number 343, and Bill Chason, requisition number 344.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 9, staff reports.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality Wawa does hereby receive the following staff reports, a copy of which are attached here too. ADB 2022-05 report for the month of September and October, and B, AP 2022-07 report for the month of September and October.
All in favor? Carried. Number 10, business arising out of previous meeting. There's nothing. No new business. No notice of motion. We'll go to bylaws.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon. Resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same. Any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding. Bylaw number 3545-22 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on the first day of November 2022.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 14, closed session.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Chason. Resolved that this committee proceed in camera at 7:04 PM in order to address the following matters pertaining to item number 1, legal issue. 1 item, application under Section 357 of the Municipal Act. It's related to an application under Section 357 of the Municipal Act, personal matters about an identifiable individual. Item number 2 is a legal item, a legal issue. 1 item, offer to purchase property. It's a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or a local board.
All in favor? Carried. Good evening, everyone. Yes.
You want me to open the doors, or do we have to wait?
Maury, can we open the doors?
My daughter is visiting from PEI.
Item number 15, business arising from closed session.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby accept staff recommendation as contained in report ICMB 2022-06 and approve the applications made for reduction, cancellation, or refund of taxes in accordance with Section 357 of the Municipal Act as amended and the corresponding MPAC response for the properties listed below. Roll number 5776-00001-041000000, 84 Broadway Avenue from the period from September 20th, 2021 to December 31st, 2021. And roll number 5776-00001-041000000, 84 Broadway Avenue from the period of January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022.
All in favor? Carried. The next meeting date will be Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. And we'll move on to the adjournment. Close of meeting.
Moved by Councillor Chason, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the meeting close at 7:24 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Congratulations, Councillor Chason.